What's up everybody, I'm Jamie. This is the Blades and EDC channel, and today I am going to be doing the disassembly of the winter blade coat factor. It comes with these instructions here, so I'm going to move them up the screen. If you want to pause it to read them, they'll be here in case you need them. For some reason you got this knife and you didn't get instructions with it. I'm sure these are on a website somewhere also. Also, full disclosure, I have watched Nick Shabaz's video disassembling this knife and the Winter Blade YouTube channel video in disassembling this knife. And I'm going to use the instructions that provided with the knife and those videos to do the disassembly. One thing that was recommended by Brian Winters was to use this foam under here, under the knife. Not to protect the knife like you probably think, but to allow this M-lock to have a soft surface so it's not pushing up while it's laying down and you're working on it, especially on the reassembly. Apparently that's going to be a big deal. These are T6 screws, and you have to use a quarter for the pivot screw. You do not need to take out that pocket clip screw. You only have to take out this one. So let's jump right in here. I'm just going to leave that in there. That off to the side. The magnet's in there already trying to pull on the screw a little bit. I'm not sure if these screws are titanium or not, but they seem to have a little bit of magnetism. Alright. Now, let's get this out using our handy dandy quarter. Kind of a cool option to have that. That way if you ever are on the go and you need to adjust your pivot and you don't carry Torx bits with you, you grab a quarter. Nickel would probably work too, I would think. A thicker coin. I don't think a dime would work, or a penny, but a nickel and a quarter would probably work. Alright. Alright, here we go. Watching these videos, I already have a good idea of what's going to happen here. I think some washers are going to get sucked right to some magnets. Yep, I heard them go already. Alright. So, we'll leave that screw in there. That's our pocket clip screw. Now, one thing that is recommended, also, just so you know, I guess that screw's going to fall out. Let's go ahead and take it out so I don't lose it. Well, if it's going to stay, it'll stay. One thing that is not just recommended, it is required. You do not get any lubrication on the M-lock or the surfaces on the blade where the lock makes contact locking the blade. No lubrication on the lock or the blade where that happens. It will cause lock stick, according to Brian Winters. So, boy, that pivot's in there tight. Some tight tolerances there. There it goes. Yeah, it's some tight tolerances for sure. Let's get that washer out of there. Where is it at? I do not want to use metal to get that washer out, or a magnet anywhere near this thing. And I don't want to scratch anything, so a good trick for that, I thought I had one over here. Bear with me, be right back. Wooden toothpick should work very well for that, I would think. I've had this happen in the past with other knives. I'm not sure what's holding that washer in there. If it's the magnetism for something, or if it's just tight fit. Ah, there it goes. Just very good, very low tolerances. So, yeah. All right. Let's. It says use acetone to clean that carbon fiber, so I'm gonna do that first. And I have a Q-tip here, which is what is recommended. I'm sure you could just use a microfiber with some acetone. But this is the surface he's talking about where the M-lock makes contact. It says a film can build up on here. And to clean this with acetone, yeah, there's some stuff coming off there, as you can see. That's probably the film he's talking about. Alright. Also, it's recommended to clean the magnets you use tape. Just dab the sticky side on the magnets. I'm going to go ahead and do that first because this may leave some residue on those magnets, so I'll wipe those down after I do this. There is some gunk coming up there. Probably metal shavings, honestly, because this knife has been on my desk a lot, and I sharpen my knives here. Didn't really think much about that at the time until I watched Neve's Knives video on this knife. I was like, I bet you, because these are some strong magnets, they'll probably pick up any little bit of dust, metal dust. This is interesting too. So I couldn't see this when the knife was assembled, but you got a magnet on each scale to center the blade, right? It holds the blade in and acts as your detent. Also got these little white pieces here that look like they are there to protect the blade from hitting the magnets. I don't know if that's G10 or what it is, but look, feels like G10. Looks like G10 would be my guess. That's interesting. All right. Now let's grab this alcohol pad here, clean these bearings and the washers off. Alright. Bearings feel nice and free. This knife is pretty much new, although I've fidgeted with it a lot. My review for this knife, or my overview for this knife, is coming up. I'm not doing a review. This is not my knife. This is sent in to me by Craig, Saigon Kick 2018. And thank you so much, man, for sending this one in. He recently just got this knife and sent it to me pretty quickly after he got it. So, super cool guy. Give him a follow on Instagram. He has a really cool knife collection, too. He has a bunch of more knives he's sending in for the upcoming knife sale also. You've already seen a lot of the Tucson's. There's going to be a couple of 80 20.5s. There's going to be TW Price Dawn. It's going to be Migaron, Cold Steel, others. I can't remember all of them. There'll be a bunch of knives in the knife sale. So, also I started a Patreon. Patrons will get first access to this knife sale. You will get a 24-hour advanced chance to buy the knives before they go live to everyone else on YouTube. And if depending on your level of your tier on Patreon, you can even get discounts on the knives. So, all right, make sure those are nice and dry. My stomach's over here talking to me. I don't think I wiped down the pivot yet. Wipe down that pivot real quick. Maybe I did and I just don't remember. We'll wipe it down again just for good measure. Alright. I see what he means about this though. If this was laying on a flat surface, it would just be pushing that up like that. So having it on this foam will definitely help keep things where you want them to be, I would think. Alright, I think we are ready to reassemble. We do have a captive pivot, and this thing had pretty tight tolerances coming out of there. It was tight. So get that lined up just right. There we go. Get our washer. I may have to look at this off camera because I can't see that bearing track that's building up under the camera. Okay. There we go. Actually, let's go ahead and grab us some. I am going to be using Gunny Glide on this. I normally use Pro Shot, but since this is not my knife, I don't know if Craig likes Pro Shot or not. I think most everybody likes Gunny Glide, so we're going to use Gunny Glide. And we're going to be very careful not to get any lubricant near that M-lock or on the blade, so we don't end up with any lock stick. Alright, drop a bearing on there, give her a spin, get a light coating on those ball bearings. Alright, This is where things are going to get tricky here in just a moment. Make sure that pivot is all the way in there. There we go. All right. Getting a little light on the lube. Add a little tiny bit to that. Alright, I'm going to have to look at this washer off camera too, because I can't see that track under the camera. It's starting to wear in on the washer, but it's not very defined yet. But it's starting to wear in. Oh, you bastard. This is what kept happening to Swabs. That washer kept flying over to that magnet. Now, I've got this knife upside down from where I think I want it to be to reassemble from what I saw. Magnets are one of those love-hate relationships. Put our little M lever, or lever flipper on here. Make sure the M lock is down. And here's where it gets tricky, because you got magnets all over this scale, right? And you've got metal over here, washers in particular. But the trick is, you can't just go right down on top of it. You can't come up this way. You can't come this way. If you watch a Winter Blade video on disassembling this, it's actually Winter Blade, I believe is the name of the YouTube channel. That's Brian Winters. What he does is he takes it just like this, holds it down against everything. Okay, I thought we grabbed the washer. He slides it right over top until it lines up with the pivot, like that. And then rotates it back like this until it's all together, like that. Wow, that wasn't too bad at all. Thank God I watched those videos. All right, now I'm just going to get this started. I am going to put Loctite on this. Craig did say he wanted Loctite, but I don't want this thing to come apart, so I'm just going to get the screws all started, enough to hold the knife together, and then I'll pull each screw out and Loctite it. Man, I can really feel that magnet pulling on that pivot. I'm not tightening this down very tight. I'm just tightening it down enough to hold the knife together for now. Then I'm going to do the pocket clip screw the same way, and I'll pull these two back out and Loctite them after I'm comfortable everything's where it should be. The pocket clip screw is still in there. Alright, that should be enough to hold us together, I think. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Alright, we got it. Let's get the Loctite out. We'll go ahead and Loctite these two. Just a little bit, don't need much. I don't think these screws had Loctite on them. They came out really easy, so I don't know if there was Loctite on them before. If it was, it wasn't blue Loctite, because I don't see blue Loctite on them. Damn it. I got Loctite all over me and that screw. Let me wipe that off, clean that off, and start over here. We do not want Loctite on the head of the screw. That's not where it goes. Trying to do this around a camera can be a pain in the butt sometimes. Alright. I gotta admit, this knife here has had me pretty intimidated, especially after watching Swabs' video. As far as I can tell, Swabs and the Winter Blade are the only disassembly videos out there for this knife. I'm glad I found the Winter Blade, because when I watched his, no offense against Nick Swabs, he's awesome, love that guy. Dude cracks me up. But the Winter Blade video, I think, was a little more helpful for me. That makes sense though. He's the guy that invented the knife and designed the knife, so. Plus the one Swabs had was a prototype, and I don't know if there's any differences. There may be. All right, let's go ahead and take out this pocket clip screw and Loctite it. And then we'll do the pivot, make sure the pivot's adjusted properly. And then we won't be touching this knife for 24 hours, or we won't be flipping it. Let this Loctite set up. Alright. Alright, now let's take the pivot back out. I don't know if I need to keep pressure on it with these screws here, but I'm going to keep some pressure on it because that pivot does not stick up very far at all. I mean, basically when you put that washer on top of that pivot over top of that bearing, top of that washer is pretty much flush with that pivot. So there's nothing really to keep that washer in place and pull over to that magnet. So I'm going to keep some pressure on this. I don't know if it's needed though. These screws may hold it plenty tight enough without the pivot screw in there. But why risk it, right? There we go, just a little tiny bit. Feel that magnet just pull that pivot right in there. It makes it want to go in at an awkward angle too. It's pulling on this pivot. So this is definitely not titanium. Stainless steel would be my guess on the pivot screw. Probably all the screws. That's good for durability for sure. It will hold up. Alright, that's pretty tight there. Right now, what he recommends doing is just going just past where there's no see, I got a little bit of blade play left and right there. He recommends going just past where there's no blade play at all. How's our centering? Centering looks a little off actually, just a hair off to the clip side. Let's see if I got it too tight. Well, this isn't even adjusting the centering, so actually, yeah, it is. There it goes. There it goes. All right, do we have any blade play? No blade play. Still got that ting. No rattles. Do have a little bit of blade play. Turn it just a hair. No blade play. Alright, I think we are all set. Wipe down the fingerprint magnet real fast. Alright guys, that is the Winter Blade Co. Factor disassembly. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Definitely watching the other guys' videos helped a whole lot. So I probably would have been lost if I didn't have those videos out there. Thank you again to Craig for sending this knife in, let me check it out, and letting me disassemble it. I really appreciate it, man. You're the best. And if you're new here, subscribe, turn notifications on. I've got a overview of this knife coming. I also have a versus with this knife versus a Dimco 80 20.5 coming, and a lot of other cool knife videos coming. Hit that like button for me if you appreciate the video or found this entertaining and or got any useful information out of it. Thank you all, and I'll see you on the next one.